Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mentorship. I first want to take the opportunity of this first video of episode 0 to thank you to being here. I know a lot of people have known me in the past years, and they've always asked me, when are you going to do the mentorship? And here I am. I am trying to do my best to make you a better version of yourself as far as trading. I am not trying to make you me or a mini me. And ICT doesn't want you to be a mini ICT. He wants you to develop your own systems with the concepts of smart money. So this is my own layout that I use, the Super ICT Advanced layout. So you can definitely take note of it. I will use the yields, the dollar, and for this episode only, I'll focus on the S&P 500. But this can also be applied to NASDAQ, which I trade mostly. Okay, so let's try to go into this thing first, and then I will go and try to explain how I use this to know what was going to happen on the previous week, on last week of December 2023. So it was this week, this week, and also the holidays week. So basically, I will tell you how I was able to trade within this candle and this weekly candle. Okay, I will also say right now to look at this section on your top left when I'm gonna click into a certain thing, because you will see this name in French. So unless you speak French, you won't be able to understand what I'm going through. So I'm a Quebecer in Canada. So yeah, if you understand French, wink wink. If you don't, no worries, you can just follow this sticker. Going back into the charts, so the first basis of what you need to understand when I look at the charts, no matter if it's this week or previous weeks, all the previous weeks, whatever, it's the fact that DXY affects the yield, affects this, the indices, and the yields, which is this, affect the XY. Okay, so this affects this, which affects this, which affects both. But I'll leave that for another time. And what affects yields? Bonds price. Okay, so that's why I call my system the Super ICT model, because my background is from corporate finance and macroeconomics. I've been trained by economists to be able to have a prediction on not only the market but also the overall economy, as far as how is it going to impact retail, you and I, big businesses, corporations like Disney, Pepsi, Walmart, whatever, and the funds like Wall Street, like insurance companies, like banks, corporate banks, and finally the market makers. So I've heard this misconception about market makers that apparently people think that Wall Street or your retail bank like TD Ameritrade or whatever, Scotiabank, is your market makers. But no, the difference between the market makers and participant in the markets like you and I and these corporations is that we develop systems in order to trade in it. We try to make something out of it, out of this whole information, and we try to predict what's going to happen for our benefits, right? Demo benefits. And I just want to clarify in the first 5 minutes of this video that the market makers are the central banks, not your retail bank, not the bank where you have your account. They're not trading S&P with your. They're not making the market. That's what I want to mean. Because, of course, this does not mean that the banks, like the banks I've named, like the retail banks, don't have some people that know how to trade with smart money concepts or like the central banks. But I just want to make this clarification clear that the market makers are the central banks. Okay, so closing of the parentheses. If you have questions, ask them in the chats. Going back into the charts. On the left, you have ES. Okay, ES, which I don't normally trade. I mostly trade NQ, as I said, but I use ES in my analysis for executions. In the mentorship, I'll try to clarify some myths or some mistakes that I've done and that I've seen ICT students or disciples try to done, and that they've tried to make the best out of all the concept that Michael put around. But I'll try to make it concise and extremely valuable for you guys. Okay, so mentorship video, here we go. So going back into the previous week, okay, this analysis will be quite fast, but take a paper and a pen and take notes. If you do not do this, you will probably struggle to follow. You will struggle to gain consistency. You are not built for trading. Let that sink in. So we had this market maker buy model, a big move upwards. If we go look on the monthly chart, we've had this market maker buy model, which is the whole buy model we've had since prior to from like 2020 to 2021. Then we had the expected economic slow, which I'm going to drop a paper about, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. It's a paper I've published during this time at university where I learned microeconomics, and I learned that this was already prior to COVID, prior to the inflation, that there was already going to be a slowing in the market and the industrial production, whatever. Okay. This is market maker buy model. If you are an ICT trader, this is what you understand. Market maker buy model. If you do not know the market maker buy model, don't be stressed. I'm going to make reference to it a lot and you will learn from it a lot. So there we go. Upside expansion and upside buy side delivery of the markets. Retracement, consolidation. You can definitely put your chart like this and say, but Brandon, we had retracement, expansion. If you know your order flow, price does not work like that. I just let that in. I'm just going to let that in. If some concepts I say you're struggling to understand, please, I don't want to plug my foundation course like too much, but if you don't understand, you will need it. Okay, because it is a foundation course, but don't be mistaken. It is advanced too. It's not for, it's not extremely basics. I do teach candlesticks, but it takes like 35 seconds, not even that. So don't think it's for absolute newbies that are gonna stay newbies. It's not that way. Okay. Coming back into this consolidation. Let's take this range. For example, let's take this range. Let's go into a weekly chart. Up and down. Ignore this. I'm going to come back to it very soon because these are recent executions. So I will come back to them very quickly. Just stay with me. Don't stay, don't be distracted by this. You will see that I've done 2 trades. One of them was a loss. You will see why it was a loss. It was pretty stupid, but the second one was pretty good. So I'll tell you all about it when I'm gonna come to it. Okay, so If you see this as an initial consolidation because you're a good student, you know your market maker buy model. Let's zoom this because you're gonna get distracted. So you know your market maker buy model. You know that this is the initial consolidation. Okay, this is a initial consolidation. Remember the monthly charts, consolidation stage. Price can do 4 things, right? You remember. It can consolidate, expand, retrace, or reverse. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, have that on a sheet of paper, and on the other side of the sheet of paper, I want you to have the other notion. Price can do 2 things. The first one being rebalance or fill inefficiencies, and the second one, grab liquidity. Okay, keep that in your mind all the time when you're looking at charts. Is what stage of price is it right now? Where is the liquidity resting? Who is actually winning right now as far as trading? Who is winning? Who is making money? Are they going to continue to make money? Okay, up till when? Are they not going to continue to make money? Are they going to consolidate and the environment becomes low probability? All of that are skills that the mentorship will help you go through. I will not make this a lesson every week. I will make this a narration in which you, as a student, as someone in the mentorship, you will need to take notes and try to learn what I'm telling you and try to see how can you do it in your charts, okay? And practice along my analysis, because yes, I will give you my targets. I will give you where I think the market's poised to go. But if that's your goal, look, I don't mind. You're gonna be in the mentorship. Yes, you're gonna be happy. I'm gonna be happy. But the goal is, look, I know Michael has done something to, I know his statement is to have successful students around the world. He wants his student to be the best. And we can say that I'm a student of Michael. I want to be the best. But I also want the same for you. If you're in this mentorship and you don't know ICT, you've never met him, you don't know the guy, it's okay. Like, I definitely recommend you to go into his channel and try to learn some stuff. But the reason that I'm here is because Michael's has thousands, hundreds of videos, of hours of content, which I watched. I watched them all. I watched everything on his YouTube channel. I watched everything on Telegram, on even his previous podcast or baby pips. I've watched everything, and I am still studying every day. It does not mean that I'm gonna be perfect as far as my analysis. It does not mean that I'm gonna tell you all the PDA rates that are in the range and all you can use, because I can do it, but the goal is simplicity. At the end of the day, what's the best course of action? You staying in your monitor all day and trading all day and giving the most precious asset, time, to the markets. Well, yeah, you can make some money. Of course, you can make some money by staying there all day. If you're capable, you can definitely do demo money, right? Wink wink. Live trading, demo thing, whatever. You can definitely do it, but the best course of action is to enjoy your life. You have families, you have friends, you have a world to explore. That's my goal, and I think it should be yours too. If it's not your goal, whatever, man. I have a lot of ways to trade, and if you want to stay in front of your computer all day because you have a day to give into the markets, you're gonna be able to do it too at the end of this mentorship. You're gonna be able to at the end of the year. You're gonna probably be extremely able to do that, because I will tell you how I look every single time of the day. Did you hear that? Every single hour, what is the best course of action? That's what I'm gonna share here. Yes, I have not heard anyone else except ICT claiming to be able to have a good grasp of the market all the time. I am humbled and extremely grateful for the Lord, for God, whatever you believe in it or not, for the Lord and ICT that have made me capable of doing so. I'm sorry if my screen got dark for a second, whatever. If not, it's probably just a bug on my screen, whatever. So I'm grateful, and I'll teach you how I do it, and I'll teach you the best that I can. Okay, I'm not gonna keep anything from you. I'll tell you how I look at it, and if that includes giving you some of my secret sauce, I will do it. Stay in the video. Stay focused. Okay. So we had this expansion range from October. Okay, you can look at your seasonality charts and see where we could have expected retracement zones. Retracement, not reversals. Why? Monthly chart, market maker buy model. Okay, we have this expansion profile. Smart money reversal, got out this. If you're not as proficient as someone that knows perfectly the market maker model, you would have not been able to see this as an entry. You would have probably seen this fair value gap. You could have probably seen this volume imbalance, which you would have missed your entry. You would have had a huge stop loss from 42. What is the high of this? 42.16 up to 41.23. So that's a big stop loss. If you're a scalper, if you're a swing trader, it's not bad. But even then, you could have seen this as an entry. This for value gap, stop here. It would be a what? 2 to 3 to 4 to 1. Yes, I am giving you a 4 to 1 thing in the first video. Of course, this is hindsight. I'm not claiming I entered here and I sold here. I cannot do that. I trade unfunded accounts. They don't want me to hold swing trades. But this was my narrative. And did that allow me to trade intraday and to make dough? Yes. So that I'll just be transparent with you. I'll tell you everything. So here we go. Let's go into a daily chart. Okay, coming back into this 20 days IPTA data range. Use your $20 previous days and try to see what we make out of it. Now, where are we at in the market? We're extremely extended as far as the 20 or even 30 IPTA data range. So what you should do, go behind on the weekly chart, on the monthly time frame, and go look at the exact and specific levels, because you need to go even a year back if you are near at the levels that you should hit, basically, that is your target. Okay, so let's go back closer into this range, because I was long here, I was long here, I was long here, I was long here. My trades were mostly longs. I don't remember trading a short during all this time, and it doesn't mean I could have not. I probably did, but 90% of my trades were long. I do a lot of trades. I do more than 200 trades a week, so sometimes even more. So that's why I don't remember. It's not because I'm trying to hide something from you. Whatever. Let's go closer. Okay. We have this weekly fair value gap. This is a weekly fair value gap from this to this. Okay, zoom out. Boom, 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 boom. Weekly fair value gap, which has served its pretty good job here. It has delivered for the meltdown. It has given us smart money entry near this high. All you can say, and up to 70 to 80% of this premium wick here. So that was the whole thing that happened. See how I made the fucking analysis quick? That's what you're gonna be hopefully able to do if you put in the work. Let's go closer. You have this gap here, bullish fair value gap. Okay. What do you have this here? What is this? Institutional order flow entry drill. You know your stuff, right? So IOFED here. Look at the day. Why did it happen on a Wednesday? But Brandon, I watch core content and the core content said Wednesday is an expansion profile. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it is. But what's the week? What's the 20th of December? What happens during that week? What happens? It's the holidays. So it is possible to have an effect of time distortion. I will go into detail about time distortion in the mentorship. But time distortion is basically when I'll explain it poorly, okay? But for this first video, it's going to serve its intent. It's when price acts like price action, but from another day or from another specific time that it should have acted on. Okay, so I'll come back into this, but you can rewind, look up what I said, and try to make sense out of it for now, but keep it and follow the video, okay? So IOFED, I entered long here. I'm going to show you the execution that I did. It's a trade I've done, honestly, because I was like, you know what, let's do a swing trade for once. It was a paper swing trade, but the execution was flawless. I'll show you more in depth how I entered here. Okay, so IOFED, what can you expect after this? Expansion. Where? Buy-side liquidity. Internal buy-side liquidity, first thing first. And then after this external range buy-side liquidity, which is here. 48.58. Let's go back into an hour time frame. I think if I remember, my entry on the other thing was around here, and I TP'd here or here. So it was a kind of like 6 or a week trade. So I'll show that after. But I was looking for longs all of the week. And did this phase me? Did this Wednesday melt phase me? If I was an intermediate or not as advanced ICT trader, I would have probably be, okay, we're reversing. We've had a lot of buy-side inefficiency here to fill. Let's go. That was not my thoughts. We have this hourly fair value gap, again providing resistance, quote unquote resistance here, and this is where I entered after. When I saw the meltdown on Friday, that's what I entered on. I'll actually show you the trade. Let me go into 15 minutes and show you the trades. So this is the dumb trade that I was explaining to you. My goal was to go long here and exit here. It did cross it. I just forgot to close my position and to put a buy limit. I know it's stupid, but here we are. I lost some money here on this new account. I will show you the P&L and shit. Be patient. So losing trade. Was I bummed? 0. I was like, okay, cool. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll say this, but I don't recommend you saying it in the beginning. I said to myself, I'll make it back. And it's exactly what I've done. As I told you, for 803.75, I bought and I sold after roughly 10 points. Let me show you how it looks like on the 5-minute time frame. You will also see on the executions and commentary channel that there's a white zone here. You can see some dotted things. I will explain how I got that in another video. I will go into more and more detail as we go into the mentorship, but the weekly reviews will go back to that trade and some other trades. If the market decides to give me some trades to show you, I will definitely be more than happy to show you guys what was the logic behind it. So let's go into small and fidgety 1 minute time frame. This was set with a buy limit, if I remember correctly. I want you to keep attention and to put your focus on time. Okay, look at the time I entered. Look at the time I exit. Okay, try to look at this trade and see what, like, try to tell me what do you see. Okay, that's like a homework. Okay, and the homeworks that I'll give, I want you to drop them in the chats, and you can definitely tag me. You can tag the moderators. Some of them have received payouts. They're good traders. I've mentored them, so they should know how to help you. But for this specific trade, I will tell you what happened in the next video. Okay, but just try to see what happened. Try to see what's going on here, what's going on here, what's going on here, and what's going on here, and why was this the take profit. Okay, so coming back to this, I told you I was expecting longs. Okay, and that was my outlook for the whole week. I was looking for longs, and I'll show you the trade I've done. It's in another account because I just created this account for the purpose of the mentorship. But I have another account in which I can show you the trade. I will post it in the live executions and commentary. And don't be worried. I'll just show you everything. So going back into this, let's zoom out. I will come back into how I use DXY and the yields in order to assess this, but keep in mind, this is relatively not all the time, not every single day, not every single minute, not every single hour supposed to be opposite to the indexes, but somewhat. To show you what I exactly mean and to tell you that my system, my bread and butter is not doing that, I will show you what happened on the dollar while I was long during this position. Okay, so let's go on a 5-minute chart. Okay, so you'll know the precision. So this was 1220. Look at DXY. What is it doing? It's going up, right? It's going up. ICT mentions in his videos that they should be opposite, right? If you expect bearish action here, you should expect bullish action here, which is true. But if you use it for scalps or even intraday swings, this was a trade that lasted for about an hour. If you use it like that, you might get scolded if you don't know why. And my goal in the mentorship will be to give you the clarity about when do they match? When could you expect that to be true? And same thing goes with the yields. They're not supposed to be all the time opposite. And you have to know when they're likely to not be opposite so you can do a trade. Okay, so I'll just drop this for this weekly, but for this analysis. But as I've said, you can try to look at it from different perspectives. I will come back to it in the very first mentorship video because this is episode 0. I'll give you a hint here. Okay, I'll give you a hint. If you are a somewhat novice trader, you will try to think that this is what caused my long entry, this 4-hour bullish for value gap. Be patient, and if you think this is it, well, that's pretty good. Try to give more reasons why it was a good long entry. Okay, so I'll come back to this. So as I've said, the yields are supposed to give the direction for the dollar. The dollar is supposed to give the direction for the indices. When are they not? One-on-one will be one of my tasks to tell you along this mentorship, and also how to analyze DXY. Would it be the same way as indices? Not all the time. How to analyze yields? Is it the same way as the dollar or the indices? Not the same thing. And you can already see that this delivery is definitely not the same in each of these markets, for example. Okay, this delivery is very continuous. Candles tend to follow each other. You can see some sporadic actions here, some gaps. Okay, some inefficiencies that happen on the dollar that you can see that doesn't happen also a lot here. Okay, so keep your questions in mind. And on the next video, I will come back to this action and give you my weekly perspective for the next week, more in detail. But know that I have more of a lean to grab this buy-sell liquidity. I could be wrong. Doesn't matter. I'm giving what I think. After we hit this buy-side liquidity, we'll discuss. If you are a novice or you're intermediate and we've hit this target, I recommend you to note the next potential targets. For example, this high, this weekly high, these highs. But to keep your risk at minimum. Okay, because if you don't know why you're looking for continuation or reversal or retracement, you're gonna find it difficult. But I will go into more details, and I'll keep this video relatively short. It's already been 30 minutes. So, and I'm recording on the 31st of 2023, the last day of the year. So I am gonna close this video for now and thank everyone in this community, even the free members, and everyone that trusted the community to help you grow, because I'm telling you, you will learn a thing or two, that's for sure. I will make my duty to teach you at least one thing. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a chartered student of ICT. I have found some stuff that I've seen chartered students miss or not put into their analysis as much as I would have. And I know that in the end, it's all about your own preferences, but there's a hierarchy in stuff. There's a hierarchy in arrays. There's a hierarchy in time. Be patient. And again, as it's the last day of the year, I want to wish you a good beginning of the year. You might see this video in January when the mentorship will be opened. The goal of this mentorship is to make you a better trader. So make that your priority. And I wish you the best for this year. I wish you health. I wish you success. I wish you discipline. I wish you a little bit of faith. I wish that you exceed your goals and get aligned with what you really want in life, because we only have one life, it seems to be. So let's make the best out of it, each and every one, and leave the toxic environment of trading behind us, because in this community, I see us as all brothers and sisters. Everyone is here to progress, to be a better trader, to be a better individual, to be a good mentor. So let's all keep that in mind in the chats. Let's keep the growth in mind. Let's keep seriousness, professionalism, and I'll see you on the next videos, and stay safe. Enjoy. Peace.